So it's no secret that I have my fair share of issues with Sony and their independent handling of live action Spider-Man films since 2007 and Spider-Man characters. It's a very important distinction to make because the games and the animation I have no problem with, they're top notch. That also makes me wonder how Sony could be fumbling so incredibly hard with the live action department. Venom was horrible, okay? That's a fact. Venom 2 was, well, I never actually saw Venom 2 because I voted with my dollar to not support a pure dog shit cash grab that I saw and everybody should have been able to see from a mile away. If you saw my Venom 2 rant, you would know exactly why, but more importantly, in that video, I said that I would never tell any of you guys how to spend your own hard-earned money. Never. That's your business. That's on you, whether you want to go and watch a movie, even if it's very predictably and obviously going to be a piece of steaming dog shit. But because of the nature of this film, I can't in good conscience not advise my subscribers who I fuck with so dearly to not absolutely avoid this movie at all costs, okay? Guys, do not waste your money, time, and energy watching this movie in theaters, okay? I would even be hesitant to say don't watch it on 123 Movies, but I know that some of you guys are more curious than others, so that'll be barely acceptable. Also, I'd like to just shout out some of the members of the community who I'm very proud of. I ran this Morbius poll and a majority of y'all players are big brain baddies, so I appreciate you, and I imagine the players that voted yes were just being agents of chaos, which I can actually really respect, and trolling, or at least I'm going to believe that to be the case, okay? This film is basically cursed, guys, with the insane delays being the absolute least of the problems with it. We will be getting into all the reasons why your boy Comic Concept is making the case that you should skip Morbius. So for my first performance of the evening, I will be guessing to a T, mind you, the exact plot of Morbius. Keep in mind, your boy has not seen the movie, nor will I, nor would I ever.
And here we go.
The beginning of the movie will show Michael Morbius and his childhood friend, played by Matt Smith, dealing with their affliction, getting bullied. Then, obviously, he's gonna do that weird thing with the bats and get his powers through that and become Morbius the living vampire. He'll start feeling the best he's ever felt in his life and then eventually have to feed on blood and question his morality because where do you get blood if not from unconsenting people, or unless you attack a blood bank. Then Matt Smith, his childhood friend, will see that he's all good and he'll be like, what the fuck? How did you get better? I need some of that shit. And Michael will be like, trust me, you don't want any of this. You don't want to know what I become. And eventually Matt Smith will become a vampire as well and go basically Chronicle Man on the city and be like, I'm tired of being bullied all my life. I'm gonna take it out on this fucking city and all the bullies. And he's gonna fucking go crazy with his new power and Morbius will have to stop him and probably more than likely do that at the end. That, my friends, is the movie essentially to a T, perfectly predicted by your boy. And an actual spoiler alert, or actually guys, maybe it's not even a spoiler at this point. That's actually a really good question, guys. Do you guys think it's a spoiler if the director of the film talks about the post-credit scenes a week before the movie releases? Oh, you do? Oh, and you also believe that's the absolute dumbest fucking thing in the world to do, especially to an already dog shit piece of shit movie? Well, unfortunately, that's what director Daniel Espinosa did. If the movie wasn't bad enough as it is already, the post-credit scenes supposedly make things a lot worse. So supposedly they're gonna be like 2 Adrian Toomes in the post-credit scene, one from the MCU I believe and one from that universe, which is like, what the fuck is that even? That's supposedly. And that the Vulture is going to have his suit back and go to Michael Morbius to try and recruit him for a team to fight Spider-Man, which at first I was like, even if Vulture forgot Peter was Spider-Man, wouldn't he know that Spider-Man saved him and his daughter's life? Like, why would he be recruiting people to fight Spider-Man? And also, why the fuck would Morbius even be up for something like that? He's never even met Spider-Man. What grievance would he have with Spider-Man? And also, apparently all the shit that was an actual draw for the movie, like the Vulture scenes and the Spider-Man murder on the wall, all that stuff that were like, oh shit, what universe is this taking place in, were cut from the movie. And supposedly Venom was even cut from the movie. So that's another very stupid thing that I saw. They literally delayed this movie because initially it was supposed to come out in 2020. Obviously everything got delayed from 2020. It was supposed to come out last last year. It got delayed again. It was supposed to come out in January, and they delayed this movie to April Fool's Day. You release a comic movie on April Fool's Day? That's basically what they were trying to do. They clickbaited everybody, or at least they attempted to, and they were like, oh, you know all the interesting, cool shit that we gave you in the trailers to look forward to in the movie? We took that shit out. April Fools. You're confused now. We just wasted your time and we have your money, and we're gonna fuck up the things that you love in the future. So please, players, don't allow this big studio to play you, and please do not go watch this movie, because that is some heavy fuck shit. I've heard so many horrible things about the mid and post-credit scenes, and all that does is just make everything more confusing. But now they're doing that officially with MCU characters, and that's what I'm really worried about more than anything, is the degrading of MCU characters due to the association with Sony and their otherworldly poor decisions. Now, you might be saying to yourself at this point, well, Comic Concept, if you don't like these movies, why do you keep on talking about them? You just want to get views by hating on something that's popular. You're just an MCU fanboy who can't take any other studio handling these characters. And to that, I'd say, well, I love the MCU and they've proven themselves to do a fucking phenomenal job with a majority of their projects, so I trust them, and they put out good things consistently, as well as, you know, I do want a lot of views, yeah, but you know, more than any of that, what I do want is movies with characters from the comics who are more than likely going to meet MCU Spider-Man, or just any iteration of Spider-Man in this era of infinite possibilities via the multiverse, for those movies to be good and characters to be represented well. Because even though I don't trust Sony, initially the concept of making villain-led movies to flesh out the villains before they interact with Spider-Man was a very interesting concept. And also, with all the projects Marvel Studios is working on currently, it would be impossible, even if they did have the rights, to get these projects out if not for Sony. But of course, like Sony does, they've given us horrible pieces of superhero content, and because of the likelihood of all of that bad shit converging with all the good stuff with Marvel Studios, it worries the hell out of me. Like, Sony is currently working on a Kraven movie, which I've been the Kraven movie's main op for years, because they're going to put forth a Kraven movie, which seems fucking impossible without Spider-Man, unless you're gonna have Kraven running through the Congo throwing hands with lions. But that scares the shit out of me and upsets me. The first time we see Kraven, not only will he potentially not be facing Spider-Man, but he'll be in an absolute dog shit movie, and that low quality and shit will be transferred over to the MCU, because obviously they want to get Kraven and Spider-Man to meet eventually. If they're not going to do it in Kraven's actual movie, which again, how the fuck is that possible? It's inevitable that Spider-Man has to interact with just the absolute shit universe that is Sony's universe. That's very worrying to me. I don't want him to have to interact with this universe at all, because I know Sony's gonna put out horrible products, okay? And it sucks because Kraven, I think, is a really badass Spider-Man villain, and to have him be done by Sony and know they're just gonna butcher the shit out of him, and then eventually still he's going to have to go up against MCU Spider-Man, that's very, very disappointing for me, because Kraven has so much potential. I see that as there is this other studio that doesn't know what they're doing, and we have a studio that is tried and true in doing characters justice, and they could be using that property way better. Essentially, my little analogy that I have handcrafted recently about exactly what Sony is. A monkey with an AK-47 during a zombie apocalypse, okay? They have control over the most valuable property in the world, and they have no idea how to use it. Meanwhile, there are actual good people that know how to use it, and because of that, no true progress forward can be made in handling the zombie hordes. The monkey is likely to hurt himself, i.e. Sony, and the survivors and the people that actually know how to do things well, which is Marvel Studios. And I don't want to hear that Aaron Taylor Johnson and Russell Crowe are attached to it and they're phenomenal actors and that they're gonna carry the movie, which that is the dumbest thing actually, because Sony has a history of casting god tier actors and putting them in the most dog shit movies. They have a fucking record. They're on a hot streak. It's clockwork for them at this point. So that's my case for not going to go and see Morbius, guys. On all levels, this movie is a waste of time. Morbius is a character that does not deserve his own fucking movie, okay? If he was gonna be a side character in Blade or a Midnight Suns or something like that, then 100% I'd be like, okay, that's badass. I'd love to see him, but a full-on movie for himself, that is very dumb. That is an extreme cash grab. Do not let Sony get away with this, okay? The reason they got away with this for as long as they did is because they had Venom. Venom operated off of the interest of the fans because people were like, how are they gonna do Venom? Is Spider-Man gonna be in the movie? Tom Hardy's in the movie. There were certain things that Venom has going for it that a Morbius movie just doesn't have. Venom is also a character that has, you know, his own solo comic and can actually exist on his own because he's that interesting of a character. He's almost like a pseudo Spider-Man, if you will. Like, he has enough clout, I believe, to sustain himself, but the movies did so bad, but they kept on playing off of people's interest and seeing these characters in live action for the first time. That's what they did with Let There Be Carnage. Everybody gets wet for Carnage and then they flock to the theaters because they just want to see him, and then it's a fucking shit version of Carnage. It's so fucking obvious that they do this at this point, and people get played and they go and they waste their money on this, and I hate seeing it, and I would hate for any of you guys to get played like that, and that is why this is my case to not go and see Morbius. I will also be ranking Morbius after I predicted the plot exactly to a T, and I'm going to give Morbius a fuck you out of 10 for even existing. This is no shade to any of the actors that participated in this movie. Jared Leto, I think, is a phenomenal actor. Matt Smith, I haven't watched Doctor Who, but from everything I've heard about it, it's amazing, and he's amazing as well. And there's other people in the movie that I'm sure I'm forgetting, but this has nothing to do with the cast, and ultimately this has to do with Sony, because they're the through line of shit throughout this universe and throughout all the problems that we've been seeing with Spider-Man and Spider-Man related characters. So that is my spiel, guys. Let me know what you think about this. I really appreciate you guys listening to this rant. It's something that I feel very passionate about, and hopefully you guys do too. Whether you guys agree or disagree, let me know. That's it. If you like this video, leave me a thumbs up, comment down below, and if you want, subscribe. I always appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope all of you guys are well, and I'll see you in the next one.